Mason, along with Mary Brotherton. We are your host for all things books and publishing. And this morning, when I did my live, I just simply titled it Too Many Things Going On. Not in a bad way, in a wonderful, productive, exciting way. We at Midnight Publishing are growing like
By leaps and bounds.
worse than that. I'm thinking I would almost say like a pandemic, but that leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So, what we now have is, I want to say 20 authors are pretty close to it. And the authors that we have on board, the new ones especially, we have a couple that gave us debut books. Ellie Ryan gave us Secrets. Darlene J. Joe, who Mary and I met at an event a couple of weeks ago, who just at that time had an idea. Well, since then, she sent me two books that we put out. We put out The Real Gift, which is a children's book that talks about what is a real gift. It's not the package that you see under the tree or the package you get on your birthday. When you open up the box and look in the package, you see the real gift, and the real gift is me. And that's for our children because our children are the real gift. They're only on loan for us for a little while. And
I just thought of something.
what?
She and we need to market that book as a gift for new mothers.
Excellent idea. The real gift. Gift for new mothers. That's a
I
great
can just
idea.
see right now, instead of bringing in a bouquet of flowers or a bunch of chocolate or stuffed animals to the hospital, when your friend has a new baby, bring them a copy of The Real Gift. And then the mom can read that to her infant and grow up with this child knowing you are the real gift.
That is a excellent idea. See, this is why she and I work so well together. Well, then, what started the conversation with Darlene was she said that she had approached the author of The Elf on the Shelf because she had an idea for The Slouch on the Couch. And of course, crickets. So I said, "Well, write it and send it to me. We'll publish it." And she sent that one after she sent The Real Gift. And when she sent The Real Gift, it was one of those, you've got to trust the process, Darlene. And you
It
have
was
to
hard.
trust me. You've got to trust the process. Because if you don't trust the process, it never works. And I say this over and over and over again. I've been in this business before it was a business. I was in this business when we were chained, basically. I know the trends, I know the markets, I know people, and you have to learn to adjust with your marketing plan. You have to learn to adjust with your graphics. Number one, kids are a whole lot smarter than they were way back when we read Dick and Jane books. Those were boring anyway. So when she learned to trust the process and she got the final product, I think she was shocked and or amazed, wasn't she, Mary?
Yeah, yeah. I think amazed is the right word. Just, it was so funny because when we met her, now I had met Darlene a year ago at another book event, and she actually said she came looking for me because she wanted to see what else I'd been doing, and she just wanted to say hello. We've been Facebook friends more than we've been in person friends, but that's changing. But she'd been like my son. Sometimes some people, one rejection feels like 1,000 stones.
Yep.
And she had reached out to this other woman about her idea, and She just wanted to get, how do I take my book from here and put it in somebody's hands? She didn't know anything about it, so she thought writing to another author would be the way to go. And she got absolutely no response. And that's so rude. I don't care how busy you are, how successful you are, or who you are. Somebody writes you a letter, respond back. And if you don't have the time or the inclination to respond back, do what I did. I've got a special account, especially because I get scammers all the time. I created a vacation reply that says, if I don't respond to you in 3 days, I'm busy writing. If I don't respond to you at all, go away. I don't need your services. So, and that usually shuts them up. Usually they'll say, oh, thank you so much for your candid response. They think I wrote it. They think I replied. I didn't reply. But there are ways to set up your email. So if you get an email from a fan, you get some kind of response. Because writers, one of the reasons that we write is because we feel so big. We have such enormous emotions that we have to get them out. And if we don't, then we become control freaks and don't trust the process. This has been the best medicine for me, is getting my books out and getting more expression out of myself. But Darlene just thought, well, these are two nice ladies, and, I'll talk to Mary. I met her once, kind of thing. But she had an idea. And for her to take that idea on November 8th, here we are November 26th, and we have physical books. I don't even know if amazed is a strong enough word for how she feels.
I think when she met with us, she wasn't expecting the process to go at lightning speed. Now,
No,
ladies,
because she had enough rejections in her life that she thought everything was just going to be a rejection. And even the good things that she had were slow.
very. And what folks that come on board don't realize about me is when they send me a book, I don't sit on it. The books, when they come in, they go out the same way they came in. And so if Mary sends me a book today and Darlene sends me a book tomorrow and Ellie sends me a book the next day, Mary's goes out, Darlene's goes out, and Ellie's goes out.
That's why I'm afraid to send you mine too soon.
Because she knows I won't stop until they're all out. If she sends me all those books at once, all those books get done before I move on to the next one. It's called production management. I worked in a sewing factory for many, many years. I also worked in a cotton mill for many, many years. And when you work on production, you finish one project before you start another one, especially in the cotton mill, because we would have to tear down all of the machines to start again because we got the cotton from the raw bale to the finished cloth. So you had to change the dyes, you had to change the spindles, you had to change the carding machines. So you finish one project before you start another one. So if Mary sends me 6 books, that's one project. All 6 of those books get done before I go to the next author. I keep a running list. And so when Darlene sent me the first one, The Real Gift, she was not expecting, a 48, 72-hour turnaround?
Magical turnaround.
And then she sends me Slouch on the Couch, and she was not expecting another 24, 72-hour turnaround. When you trust the process, I can get things done. When I have to fight with you about the process, I've got an author right now that I could have already had all three of her books done and up, but she didn't trust the process. So now she's
Oh,
doing
you
all of her
have to
own.
trust.
She's doing. I don't know if she's doing her graphics or not, but it breaks my heart because the stories are fantastic, but she didn't trust the process. So the very first question that I ask new authors is, are you going to completely trust the process and are you going to trust me? Because if the answer to any of one of those questions is no, and she's got a third one,
Yeah, yeah, I got a third one. Are you going to follow the guidelines?
there, yeah. Because if
Come
any of
on,
those
folks.
answers are no, we can't help you because I'm not going to babysit adults. I'm not going to do it. Our guidelines are very simple, and it's to keep my life simple. It's New Times Roman 12 font, full manuscripts. If you got graphics, number the graphics, and trust the process. The main thing is trust the. If I ask you, are you married to this cover? Are you married to this graphic? And you say, well, I like it. Okay, that's all well and good that you like it, but understand you're marketing to the masses. That was
Well,
what.
let me tell you, when I sent her the covers, I mean the children's books, that was kind of easy to trust. Faith and Folly. Faith and Folly was like the continuation of my very first book, so it's kind of close to my heart. True stories about. I need to write another one and put Ramonda in it because she's a little chatterbox. But my Faith and Folly was true stories about angelic encounters and encounters with dead relatives. But I had some ideas for the cover, and I sent her the ideas, and she said, okay, well, I'll do my own way. And she came back with one that was so much better than what I could have imagined. And at that point in time, I was still not, I trusted the process, but I wanted to micromanage the process too. And they're really and truly, if I was working with, I think his name was Edward E. Knopf, but if I was working with any publisher from any other house, number one, I wouldn't be working directly with the publisher. I would be working with 4 or 5 times removed and probably talking to an intern half the time. But I wouldn't be able to give the input and the feedback that I do to Yvonne. I would just be told, I'm sorry, you're getting a plain black cover. Or we're just putting the words on the cover. Or we're just, this is what we're doing and you don't have any say because we know better. Well, Yvonne knows better too. And I had to come to terms with that and allow myself the freedom of not being in charge for once, of not. I can imagine that Yvonne would go to bed at night and go, Mary, Mary, Mary. I was like Gollum in the ring, my precious. This is my book. These are my words, and you must write them the way I want them. No, you can't. I mean, the words, she doesn't bother. Unless when she's reading it, she finds absolute mistakes.
Like the word a half a dozen times in one paragraph, or
And I
dot,
know
dot,
I'm
dot, dot,
guilty.
dot.
I am guilty of writing the word and in between. I make a lot of run-on sentences. Learning to write is a tough thing sometimes. But there are things that you don't want to do. You don't want to put emojis in your manuscript. You don't want to put, like she said, the ellipses, or there are too many parentheses. You don't want to overburden your reader with a lot of mechanical gizmos. And so Yvonne reads every single book, and she does make corrections or recommendations for corrections, but you got to be willing to take her advice. You have to let it go. And if I could sing, I'd jump into that Frozen song, but it is way too early and I've had only not even a half a cup yet.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah,
Well,
I'm
and,
still
and
working on
Mary,
it. Today was a very lazy day for Mary.
the we go back to the Faith and Folly book cover. When I sent her the idea for the book cover, I said, "Are you married to this book cover? Do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out?" And Mary admitted she was really put out with that statement. How dare I? How dare she?
I mean, at the time, I think my hair was purple. And so I'm like, well, of course I want to stand out. How could you ask such a question?
But that's, I
But,
ask everybody that.
and I will tell you folks, it doesn't matter how flamboyantly you present your body. That little child that we almost all of us grew up with. I've come to terms in my head, I don't think my husband ever had that little injured child in him. Just, he's so confident. But he told me recently, he said, some of my bravado is put on because it's required. It's not who I really am. Now, this is after 25 years of marriage. But anyway, most writers especially have a little child who has been put down, shamed for writing, scolded for reading too much, punished sometimes. If you didn't get your math, then you were pushed in a room and told, do your math, accomplish this, and not allowed to write, not allowed to read. And so we were punished in the most horrible way that doesn't involve physical punishment. For a creative person to be told you can't create, just put your throat right here and step down really hard, because it's killing us. So when Yvonne takes a manuscript and turns it into magic, it's amazing. And when we learn to let go of our precious little whatever, that's when the freedom comes. I told Yvonne just before the show started, I'm about to hand over my next book. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
And what I told Mary is the other night, she got really tired, just all of a sudden. And what I explained to her is, for I don't know how long, subconsciously and consciously, Mary has been carrying this burden of, I've got all of these stories in my computer, all of these files, all of these books. I need to get them out. But now it's become overwhelming. One of them
It
was
was.
25, 30 years old that she had been sitting on. So it becomes overwhelming. And once she started releasing all of that, her body, her mental, her spiritual, her emotional, her physical started getting back in line. And then it says, I can rest now. I don't have to worry anymore. So then she was exhausted and needed to rest, which was fine because now the brain's clearer, the psychic's clearer, the mental's
2 days.
clearer. 2 days.
I just needed 2 days to be my slouch on the couch.
See? And
See,
now she's
Darlene doesn't realize she has created something that is going to be phenomenal. We're going to all be calling each other slouch on the couch, or saying, why don't you become a slouch on the couch? It's time to take
it's
a break.
time. But giving yourself permission to let go and to trust what I do This is the result. Since the middle of August, all of the books that were in Mary's folders that were ready to go are done. Plus one that she wasn't even, not even on her radar.
No, I mean, Ramonda came in like a,
Whirlwind.
well, no, she just came in as so calm and peaceful, which is not common in my lifestyle. She was just kind of like hanging out and very, very sweet. But once she got my attention and knew that I was paying attention, that calm demeanor quickly disappeared. Like, come on, we have work to do. Wait, what? You need to write my book. And I thought, oh, I've got to call Yvonne and get some information. I mean, I had the tip of the iceberg information is all I had. And so I was getting ready to call and interview you basically, or get Brandy's phone number and talk to her. And Ramonda said, no, 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 no. This is going to be a graphic novel. We're going to play with this book. I was like, what?
And they did. And we did. And it goes live in 4 days.
I am so excited about that book.
And also, in 4 days, Carol Speardoice's book, Delilah, the Curious Flamingo, goes to the craft store. This is her second book.
I love it.
Ellie Ryan is working on her next book. I have no idea what Darlene's up to, but she's probably working on a third book. Yesterday, I sat down with Elsa Ward, who we also met at the event around the 8th or whenever we were in Cocoa Village.
Yep. A couple weeks ago.
And she said, I just want to let you know I've researched you. I said, and? She said, you are exactly who you say you are. You think?
Duh.
So she brought me she had gone with a vanity press. And I looked at it and I said, Elsa, they did you a disservice. The cover would not stand out. She painted what she wanted to go on the front cover. The painting is beautiful. However, it blends in. It's just a basic white cover, and you can't even read the name of the book because the title, the front part of the title's in black. And it broke my heart for her, because here we have a novice author who is so excited about her trilogy, and she gets done like she's just a number. And I ask her the same thing I ask every author, are you married to this cover? I said, because once I start reading your book, when I get it, the cover is like a piece of artwork. When I'm painting, it starts forming in my head, and it won't shut up until I go find what will make it work. On the back of that cover, instead of giving a synopsis, they wrote almost a whole chapter. Exactly.
Nobody will read that.
That's what I said. So she is currently finessing that first book. There's 2 more behind it. And she is our newest author. So I can't wait to get it. Can't wait to work on it. Because this is something for her. She will be so excited when she sees what I'm talking about. It's a plain white cover with just this, it's a beautiful piece of art that she did. But it's not something that if you were scrolling on Amazon looking for a book and her name happened to pop up, you wouldn't give that book a second thought. You have to understand the public is very fickle. What is trendy today might not be trendy tomorrow. So, somewhere down the road, we may be changing book covers. And the reason for that is because people get desensitized to the same old book cover. Am I right?
Absolutely right. And that's why, if you notice certain iconic soft drinks, I'm going to try not to give any name brands, but they have uh, an iconic look and they have a brand. But every now and then they have to spice that brand up by putting your name on it. So you can find your name in the store on this soft drink. Or they'll start throwing out Christmas commercials. What does their soft drink have to do with Santa Claus? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
It's marketing, marketing, marketing. But it's also repetition. Once you're as big as these big soft drink companies, you should never have to advertise again because they are known all over the world by their little short name and their logo. But they still advertise because there's still new people being born all the time that might not have heard of them. And if they want to spice it up a little bit by throwing something different, and they've even tried renaming themselves and putting out, so and so 0 calories or so and so whatever, and then they always go back to the tried and true.
And that's because it works.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are my authors, if you notice, I've been putting up 7-second shorts on YouTube, on our Facebook page, and on the website. And before the show, I was telling Mary, I went and ran the analytics for the YouTube page. As of this morning, on our YouTube page, we had 9,245 views in 28 days. We had a total of 6 new subscribers, with a total of 11,092 subscribers to the YouTube channel, and 677 of those were in the last 48 hours. So then I went and looked at the top views of these little shorts. Delilah, the Curious Flamingo and Her Christmas Town, 1,177 views. The World's Best Grandfather, 930 views. My book, True Crime, The Last Rites, 709 views. Where's Wags, a little children's book, 501 views. Slouch on the Couch, 187 views. That is Darlene's second book that's not even out yet. From the Balcony, Mary's book that just came out, 157 views. If I Could Be a Mermaid, 105 views. Open Hearts and Safe Haven Prayers by Carol Bellavance, 104 views. Gwendolyn Law's Christmas Coloring Book, 130 views. Witchy Weeds by Andrea Dean Van Scoyoc, which tells folks about the weeds that are in our yard that we kill. Some of them are great for medicinal purposes. The dandelions you can eat. That book's not even out yet. 109 views. Faith and Folly by Mary Brotherton, 101 views. How many publishers do you know do that for their authors at no cost? Zero. And I do this on a daily basis. I just spent all morning putting up some of Andrea's on the YouTube with Santa Claus and the reindeer and Ramonda's. I don't know if you saw Ramonda's or not. I have Santa Claus reading Ramonda's, and I
I
tagged you in
saw
it.
that come across and I tried to open it, but I couldn't get it open because it was time to start the show. And I'm really excited about that.
So the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, not only do I know how to make you shine, I know how to market you. And people say, well, I like this picture. I like this cover. I understand that. I like a lot of things too. But in the big picture, while it's our words in our book, we're writing it for the masses. We're writing it for an audience. Is it going to be for everybody out there? No. But I will tell you
Every book is not for everybody.
but I will tell you something else. Because of these 7-second shorts, the book sales that would not have been are being. My biggest seller for this month was Ellie Ryan's new book, Secrets, and it just came out. Last month it was Errol's Journey by Bonnie Clark. Carol Belavance's book, Open Hearts and Safe Haven Prayers, going through the roof. Carol Speardoice's book.
You know, it just dawned on me. October, Errol's Journey was #1.
Yes.
And then she's dropped down to #2 and in a tie with Carol.
Yep.
But I'm just, this is something else that you're not going to find other publishers doing. And we just started doing it last month, but we're announcing our top sellers, our best sellers. And I'm hoping that we can do this every month and see, you know, people say, I want to be a best-selling author. Well, it dawned on me yesterday that I was the best-selling author in my household.
There you go. In fact,
But, you know, you can be a bestseller and be on a bestseller list and not be on the New York Times bestseller list. But that's the goal, you know.
I had that conversation with Elsa yesterday. She said, my dream is for all these books to be on the New York Times bestseller list. And I said, okay, Elsa, I'm going to tell you something. And it may come as a shock to you. But the New York Times bestseller list is not the volume of books that a certain author has sold. What publishing houses do is they send the new release book list out to bookstores. And they have the managers tick off their favorite books.
It's a beauty contest.
They send them back in, and that's how the New York Best Time Seller List works. It has nothing to do with book sales. It's all political backroom deals. And that's okay, because all I care about is the authors with Midnight Publishing being successful. And if you sell one book, it's like I told Sherry Ann Richardson, we sell one book at a time.
Yep.
We don't look, well, I want to sell 50 books by the end of the month. No, you sell one book.
But then you better get out there and hustle.
And the way you sell one book at a time is every time I post a new short, I post a new release, I post anything that has to do with marketing, I tag my authors. I expect them to repost it and to get it out there on their social media, plus share it if it's not about them. If Mary sees one by Gwen, she's sharing Gwen's stuff. If she sees one by Andrea, she's sharing that. I expect reciprocal, because all of us have different social media people in our lives. I've got close to 4,000 people just on one page, just on my Von Mason page. I don't know how many I've got on the others, But everything that I put up on Midnight Publishing goes on all those pages, plus the website, plus YouTube, plus Twitter, Tumblr, Blogger, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads. Oh, speaking of Threads, the
Oh,
the other day, if I can find it, we had over 100 views about Ramonda's book.
oh my.
That was 6 days ago on the 20th. We had over 100 views on The Real Gift in one day.
And these books are just coming out.
Yes. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, there's a sense of urgency on my part. In fact, I'm working with a nonprofit for a children's book about dealing with death, and I sent them the first draft, and they went, "Wow, we didn't expect it this soon." Apparently, they haven't met me.
Nobody expects it that soon
So,
because that's not how the industry typically works.
but I'm not typical industry either.
No, ma'am, you're
And
not typical anything.
and what folks also don't realize, I have two books of my own that I work on in between getting the authors out. And I work on early in the morning or late at night or whenever I can't sleep, because I made a commitment to these authors. And that commitment was to get them out there. And how much do I charge, Mary?
Zero! Not a penny, folks. She
Nothing.
doesn't ask for a kickback. She doesn't say, well, when we get successful, I'm going to expect you to pay me X dollars or anything like that. She just does it as out of a sense of service.
Because
It's
God is the
phenomenal.
one that runs this train. God, I don't know where we're going with this nonprofit. I have no idea. But I knew that I couldn't say no. If they choose to walk away, that's going to be on them.
Yeah.
If any author comes to me and then decides to walk away, that's on them. The only thing I won't publish is erotica. I refuse to publish erotica. But I will publish fantasy, sci-fi, romance, children's books, true crime, crime fiction, thrillers, poetry. I just put up Alta Desinoids, My Soul Trust in the Lord, in French. I took 3 years of French. I barely can
I
speak it,
love that.
but I did
Our
it.
first, our first foreign language.
Exactly. And you talking about a booger. I had to go on to Word Doc and get a translation for the back of the book, and then I had to make sure that what was on the front of the book is the title, read the same as on the back of the book when I was doing the synopsis. But it's up there in paperback, and it will go up on Kindle, and it will go up on hardback. It's just going to take me a little bit. I'm up for the challenge. But if somebody comes to me and
You,
they
you know, you've always been up for the challenge because I know when I first started working with you, that I gave her 3 books that had already been published. And I said, "Can you get these on Amazon?" They only one of them had been made was on Amazon at that time, but the other 2 had not made it to Amazon. And a day for each book. Within 3 days, I had 3 books. Unbelievable.
and it's a matter of my saying I am committed. Maybe I should be committed to an insane asylum, but that's another story for
Ah,
another day. I am committed to the people that have entrusted me with their craft, because I am committed to myself with my craft. I am committed to making sure that they get out there. I would have loved to have had that when I first started 20 years ago, when MySpace was my first social media. and where I had to go hunt and find places to build a website, and where the only way to publish was through a vanity press or through Lulu. And neither one of those worked out well. So to say that I've run the gamut of, oh, I insist on this cover and I insist on that and I insist on this. I've been there, done that. It doesn't end well. To be able to turn it
If
loose,
you can't trust the woman who's been doing this for decades, and not only doing it, but knocking it out of the park on a personal level, then you have no business trying to trust anybody with it.
have
Trust
a
Yvonne,
and trust the process. I have a friend right now that
trust the process.
she has an agent and she's with this publishing house, and I understand. Okay, let us explain to you about agents.
Woo!
If you're fortunate enough to get an agent, that agent then has to go and pitch your book to a house somewhere. How long it takes that agent to pitch that book is determined on how long that book sits in their inbox before they get around to it, because you're not their only customer. You're not their only client. So they go pitch this book to 4 or 5 houses, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait till 6 months
And
to
then you wait a little more.
6 months to a year down the road. Maybe that house wants to see a chapter. Well, 6 months to a year down the road, you could be dead. What did that get you? Nothing. So that agent pitches that book. They decide they're going to publish it. You do not get to give your input on the title. They may change the title. You don't get to give your input on the cover. They're going to flop on there what they want to flop on there, because now you have become part of the cattle call. Because they're going to push that book out without any thought of standing out. You may even lose one of your characters' names because one of the editors thought another name was better. You may lose a whole chapter because the editors decided to rewrite it. You don't get to market that book the way you want to, because your agent's going to tell you where you can and cannot go. I don't take instruction very well. I barely take suggestions. So that would not work for me. Big houses don't care.
No, and I think it wouldn't work for most other writers either.
No. They don't. You are a commodity. It's like being a footballer, a professional baseball player, a professional hockey player, a professional soccer player. You are a commodity. You're not an individual anymore. You are managed by your agent. You have no input. They tell you what to do. I haven't been told what to do since I was 2 years old. Can you see people telling me what to do now? No. No, the last person that tried to tell me what to do, what did I do with the body? I don't remember. Just saying. So, when I get new authors, like I got Elsa yesterday, and we had a conversation, I hope she left. She says she's on board. She was going home and finish that first book that she's reworking. And I hope that she understands that My concern is for her as an author. I want her to shine. And I'm going to tell you what, Mary, tell you, Mary's shining. Sherry Ann's doing things I never thought that girl would do. She was so far down in that well. Look at her.
She's been phenomenal.
She's given workshops. She's doing public speaking. She's talking about the cocoa bean. She's redone her homesteading. All because the magic happened. Not once, but twice. She told me, she said, Vaughn, I can't write the sequel right now. I'm too busy. I said, that's okay. Perfect. So we want you to shine. Mary and I talk about all of our authors all of the time. We have Peggy Engler, who writes spiritual inspiration. We have Alta Desinord, who writes spiritual inspiration. We have Carol Bellavance. Now, that was another one, trying to get that girl to understand that it's okay to put your name on a book. Once I finally convinced her that she has a gift, and if she doesn't use that gift will be taken away. We're told
Absolutely.
that. Well, we were sitting on my front porch the other day, and she says, I have something written up. And she says, you know how sometimes you see these concrete piers and they go out into the ocean and they don't move, no matter the storm. They're so far down in the foundation and in the earth, they don't move. Then you have the rolling piers that roll with the waves. Then you have the boats out there that are more buoys that bob and weave whatever comes. I said, send it to me. I'll do something with it. Well, she did, and I did, and she's amazed. It's called Holding On to God Through the Storms. Did you see that video I did?
That was powerful.
Very powerful. 7-second video. Shows this woman holding on to a mast, shows this hand reaching down and shows her up, and this hand grabs her hand. That's what we do. So this girl went from, I'm not sure, to, oh, what can I send you next? So we have 3 spiritual inspirational authors. We have Gwendolyn Law, who survived and thrived through not one but 2 domestic violence relationships. She came back with a bang with a coloring book for domestic violence survivor thrivers that we promote with her book September Chill. Then she's done a coloring book and the girl's doing something else. I don't know what else she's doing. She's doing something. She's trying to send me to other authors. Then we have Mary, who gritted her teeth and held her nose and drug her heels with, how many books do you have out now, my love?
Getting paid to send you my 14th.
See? All since August, and we're into November. What, 2.5 months?
I can't explain it. I really can't. I'm kind of in awe of myself. And I want to make people understand these are files that I've had on my computer for decades. I mean, the minute I got a computer in late 1990s, I started taking my journal entries and transferring them to my computer. I know that If I Could Be a Mermaid it was an abbreviated poem that I turned into a children's book. And I actually found the original poem. It's forever long. But I'm thinking it might make a great graphic novel for adults. I'm like, I can't stop thinking. And yesterday, I went outside to check the mail, and one of my neighbors asked me how I was. Hadn't seen you in a while. Said, I've been busy. I just put out my 13th or 12th book or whatever. I don't even know. Um,
She's lost count.
I need, I need, I need a lot. But anyway, I told him about. He said, "Well, what was your latest?" I said, "Well, the latest book that I actually recently wrote would have been Ramonda's extended warranty." He goes, "What?" I said, "It's about organ donation." "What?" I said, "It's fiction. It's graphic novel, but it's based on a real event." He goes, "Is this somebody you know?" I said, "It's somebody who appeared to me. I know her now." And he knows that I talk to dead people and angels and all this, so it's not a big deal to him. But the more I talked about it, he goes, I gotta buy this book. What's it called again? Raymond something? I'm like, "No, Ramonda." I said, "Just look up my name and look for the book with the extended warranty." And he's a man of a certain age. He goes, "I could use an extended warranty right here." And then all of a sudden he gave me an idea for another book. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, I don't think, because that might be 6 months down the road.
Or not.
Uh, I don't know how long it will be. I am at the whim of the voices in my head. I I have a little bit of control over what I put out, but not a lot.
Not much.
I just pulled together some poems and prose also. There's some short stories. Most of these are 1 page long on a 6 by 9 page. There are a few that might be 2 or 3 pages long. But it's going, and I have no idea what I'm going to call it yet. I've got a working title, but it's a book that you would buy for gift giving purposes. If someone you knew or know is ill, possibly dying, or it would be a great book to give instead of cards. It won't cost you a penny more than a Hallmark card. And it goes back to many years ago of my own personal losses when I'd lose someone in my world. Whether and loss doesn't necessarily mean death. Sometimes loss is that your best work buddy gets transferred or moves out of state, and it could be your child growing up and leaving the home. But I've got to go over it, but I've got more than 30 stories or little poems related to being the one left behind. Maybe that's what I'll call it, the one left behind.
That's a good title.
I like that.
This is how we roll. And I was thinking, when Mary and I were at lunch and the day that I told her to send me all those children's books, she says, "Well, I've got another book. It's called From the Balcony." Well, I already had the cover in my head. I already had the cover. And I said, "Send it to me." So when I sent her, she sent me the book. I did the cover. I sent her the cover, and I thought she's going to come through the computer because it was perfect. From the Balcony, and people that don't know Mary, if you read this book, you're going, who is this person?
She is desperately touched in the head.
This book was written at a time when Mary had lost her mother. Now, we all know there's different stages of grief, and they don't come in any specific order or at any specific time, and they don't last for any that word I can't pronounce anymore, for any length of time. She was at an anger phase, and when I say she was in an anger phase, it was murderous. So some of these stories, if you think Mary is Miss Sweet, innocent, soft-spoken, smiley all the time, yeah, no.
Well, I am until I'm not.
There is a dark side to this woman, I mean, we know I have a dark side because I write it all the time, but this is a dark side to Mary, and you will definitely enjoy this book. And I can assure you that at some point in your life, you wanted to do some of the same things that Mary wrote about. You just know that it's against the law and you might not rock orange. So that book is coming out on the either the 15th or the 20th. In fact, we already sent you some books for this event we're doing. Oh yeah, we're doing an event December the 13th, and where is it?
It is at the Relentless Equestrian Foundation barn. It's called their Winter Festival. Let me look up their actual, almost know their address, but I don't know it. It's in Melbourne, Florida. I've done so many posts about this. I should know this in my head, but I don't. 4150 Lake Washington Road, Melbourne, Florida. We'll get to see Dale. He says he's coming. He wants
Nice.
to look at all my books. I keep pushing him. I would really like for him to get his first book finished. I told him, I said, I want it done by December 23rd. December 23rd, 2023 was the day I met Dale at a book event. And I lit the fire under him at that point to start writing. He told me yesterday that he has written more in the last 3 months than he has in the last 3 years.
Oh yeah.
There's something about this 3-month thing that's been going on. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I've noticed an uptick in his likes on things that we're putting up,
He's following us more.
and that may be a motivator. In fact, Andrea, who has been sort of laid back, she said, if I'm not going to send you any more books until after the first of the year, then I get witchy weeds. And now she's starting to promote more because she sees the sales of other books. And it's not a competition, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
The authors sell their books when they sell their books. It's not a competition. However, it could be a motivator for some. And Andrea, like me, has been in this business a long time, and she's also dealing with a husband that's not well. So sometimes it's a struggle. But if something clicks that gives you that fire in the belly again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Because we are all successful in our own right. The fact that every author that we have here is now published is a success story.
I think it's just magnificent. I'm having the time of my life doing, marketing my books, and then in between I'm helping other authors, or I'm working on another one. I mean, I've got not as many as before. I've lost track, but I still have more books that are written as individual stories that I'm putting together.
Right.
Like an anthology, except it's just mine. It's not a group of other authors. Short stories. And there's a market for that. And I love that there is. I still got one novel to complete. I just need to read it and fix my mistakes from, I don't know how many years ago. More than 10 years ago, I know that. Probably 15. I wrote my first NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writers Month, which they're not doing that anymore. Now people are just saying a writing challenge. Just see if you can do this many words in so many days or months or whatever. But I wrote a book, and sent it out and got a lot of feedback on it. And now I've got to take that feedback and incorporate it or not into my book. And I've got other books that are waiting to be started. They're just going, Mommy, please, please help me come to life.
And they will.
I'll get to you when I can, my darlings. I feel like Oliver Twist with my
Please,
books
sir,
lately.
may I have some more?
Yes, it's exactly. And that's how I feel that my books are speaking to me. There's a group of them all going, me, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'll get to you when I get to you. Because sometimes like this book that I'm writing about, my poems, the one left behind is what I'm going to call it, because it's the perfect title now. Because it's for the ones who are left behind. And I really want to get this published. I have two reasons. Number one, Linda Humphrey. She just recently lost a daughter, and I'd like to give her a copy of it. But then I'm losing my dearest friend in the entire world that I've had since, she was 14 years old when I met her. I was a little older. But she and I have been friends for, it seems like, most of my adult life. And I know she's slipping away with cancer. So I got to have this ready to give to her husband. Not that he'll read it.
And this is the motivation, ladies and gentlemen. And as she's sitting here talking about that, until Gwendolyn Law reminded me that this time last year, I published her book, September Still. I had already been publishing since June of last year. It did not dawn on me that I've been doing this for a year and a half.
Wow.
In a year and a half, we have 20 publishers. Mary has let go and got 14 books, 13 books out there, sending me another one. I have republished most of Andrea Dean Van Scoy's, and she has sent me The Mercenary Files, Witchy Weeds, Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel, The Sacredness of Every Day, How Celtic Christianity Still Survives in a World of Modernization, a Saxon, I forget, it's a Western mystery. These authors are on a roll. Ellie Ryan sent me a book, said, I wrote this a while back. What do you think? Now it's out. Darlene, a month ago, not even a month, 2 weeks ago, came to us with an idea. Now she's got 2 books out.
And let me tell you, that was so funny because Yvonne said, well, just mail it to me. And Yvonne and I were thinking, it meant the manuscript. So she wrote her idea down and emailed it. And I'm like, oh, that's not enough for a book. It's just an idea. So we met and I explained to her, she didn't have a clue what she wanted, how she wanted her book to come out. She just had an idea. So we nurtured her and nurtured that idea. And now she's on her second book, probably writing her third. I'm so proud of how she blossomed.
Overnight. Just overnight. And when you give yourself permission to do your craft and not apologize for it, this is the main thing you have to understand. And I was talking to my friend Louise when we were coming back from Melbourne yesterday. Most artists, whether they're actors, painters, writers, songwriters, musicians, comedians, theater, whatever it is, most artists lack confidence. And they may say, no, I'm very confident. They're lying to themselves, because there's always that self-saboteurs sitting on their shoulder going, but you're not good enough. You got rejected for this part. Your book got rejected here. Nobody buys your art. Nobody likes your song. Well, a handful of people like your song. There was an artist several years ago by the name of Adele. And the way that Adele became a Grammy winner with so many trophies she could not hold them was simply because she put one song up on YouTube called Rolling in the Deep. And that song went viral. And you had military personnel, you had individuals, you had people covering that song, and it went over the moon. The main thing you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is do not allow that little self-saboteur say, well, you only sold one book this month, so you're not good enough. You're enough. Number one, you wrote the book. Number two, you allowed it to be published. And number three, you sold a book. You're successful. It could have sat in your inbox from now until hell froze over. And that would have been, oh, I tried, but it didn't work. No, you didn't try.
Nothing beats a failure but a try.
There you go. Because you sat on the fence. I tell people when they say, well, I try. No. Yoda says do or do not. There's no try. Because if you're not going to do it, that's commitment.
Yeah.
If you're doing it, that's commitment. But if you're sitting there going, I try, that's sitting on a fence. And the only thing you get when you sit on a fence is splinters in your butt. That's it. That's all you get. And that festers and gets ugly. So when I tell people that come to us and say, oh, I have an idea, or I have a book, or send it to me. Well, I don't know. Then you're not committed. You are not committed enough to put it out there.
You have to get off the fence in order to cross the fence.
There you go. And so what if you get a bad review? You flip that review on its head.
Oh, I would love to get a bad review.
I
'Cause
have
bad
it.
reviews make people buy your book to see if it was really that bad.
Yes, it does. When Jack was alive and we would listen to the critics, the two movie critics, I forgot their name. They would talk about new movies coming out. Oh, well, I didn't like it because of this, that, and whatever. Jack would say, we're going to see that movie. And it would turn out we loved it.
Yeah.
One of the ones that got really bad reviews that we went to see was the Dark Shadows movie with Johnny Depp.
Oh, I loved that.
Well,
He was so good in it.
it was, and I came and there were a lot of bad reviews on my social media page. So I came back home and I sat down and I said, I wrote my own review. And my review went something like this. You have to get out of your own way. You have to forget about Barnabas Collins in the 1960s. This is the 2000s. What he did and what the screenwriters did is they reinvented Dark Shadows. It was a dark comedy.
It was always supposed to be funny.
Yeah, it was not supposed to be the Barnabas Collins of the 60s where you couldn't wait to get home and go sit in front of the TV to see who he was going to bite next. It was a dark comedy because that's Johnny Depp. The same thing with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice got bad reviews. I went to see it. Open-minded people. You have to stay open-minded. It had nothing to do with the original Beetlejuice. It had to do with the coming of age of the teenager.
Yes.
And what she had to live with, the history of the house. And the angst she was having with her mother, as most teenagers do. And what happened when she disobeyed her mother. There were consequences. So just because you get a bad review doesn't mean that your book is bad or that you're bad as an author or that you can't write. It means a couple of things. One, the person that read the book read it with a closed mind. B, it's a person that wants to write but doesn't know how or can't. And C, it's somebody that absolutely has no appreciation for the printed page. And books are like art, it's perception. The way I understand
Absolutely.
a book may not be the way someone else does. What I get out of a book may not be what someone else does. That's why they have readers groups, book clubs, whatever they're called, because
Yeah.
you get different perspectives from different books, and there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean the book's bad. If we all thought the same thing, we'd just be in a test tube. I tell people that read my true crimes or want to buy my true crimes, look, if you do not have an analytical mind, if you are not ready for raw, brutal honesty and something that's not fluff, then don't buy my books, because they are very brutal. There are crime scene photos on there that will make the weak of heart, mind, and stomach sick. They don't talk about their best friend or, oh, how pitiful the criminal is because he had a very bad life. No, he made his decisions. They don't talk about the favorite puppy or their favorite color or how popular they were in school. It's very police driven, investigative driven. It's not your typical true crimes that come out that's all fluff and no substance. Oh, I feel so sorry for John Gacy because he was abused as a child. I don't feel sorry for John
Okay.
Gacy.
A lot of people have been abused as children. There are people being abused right now all over the world, and they don't turn into mass killers.
Exactly. So you have to understand that we as writers write from one perspective. You as the reader read it from a different perspective. And we've said this before on this show, and we're going to say it again. When you write a review, and you attack one of my writers personally, or you attack me personally, that's not a review. That is a personal attack on someone else's character. It's not. It has nothing to do with the book. That review does not deserve 2 seconds of someone else's time.
No.
If you didn't like the book because it wasn't your cup of tea, that's fine. But if you didn't like the book because it wasn't written to your specifications, that is not acceptable. We don't write for one individual. We write for millions of individuals. Am I right, Mary?
You are absolutely right. And that's why we have so many imprints right now.
Yep.
I just recently did some little background into my own stuff, and I think I came up with 6 or 7 imprints that I personally write for under Midnight Publishing. And then we have, as a publishing house, let me see how many imprints we actually have. Because we just added one yesterday, because we had forgotten to do one about poems.
We have 15
We
or 20.
have 26. No, 25. 25. There's one of them, well, 26 if you count Midnight Publishing.
That's true. And there's a reason for the imprints, and that is Midnight Publishing's logo is kind of like me. It's dark and unique because when I started this, I didn't expect it to go in the direction it went. I'm not complaining, I'm very blessed. But as Mary and I started getting different publishers with different genres, it
Uh-huh.
was it was conducive for us to do the imprints. The big houses do it all the time. A Random House has Harlequin, which is romance. A Penguin is Penguin under Random House?
Penguin is under Random House, I believe.
So they do imprints. We do children's books. I don't want to put Midnight Publishing's imprint on a child's book because it's kind of dark. So we did Small Hours. We have Morning Star for our spiritual inspirational imprint. We have Toxic for domestic violence. And when you see those imprints, you know that we have done the publishing through Midnight Publishing, but it is under that imprint. And who knows how many more we'll get before it's all over with.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered just about everything except erotica,
Yep.
and that's by design. And I mean, it blows my mind. I'm not the kind of author who says, "Oh, I only write romance," or "I only write fantasy," or "I'm a sci-fi author." I write whatever I'm told to. I've written
And not by
children's
me,
books.
by her.
No, not by her. By
By
the,
her
the
voice.
voices in my head. I've written children's books. I've written a graphic novel. I've written a novel. I've written memoirs. I've written spiritual books. I don't know what else. Nonfiction, fiction. It's all. In fact, my book, 1,000 Words, actually has fiction stories and nonfiction in it. You can probably read the book and figure out pretty quickly which ones are which, but you might not.
And that one
Because-
goes live on the 8th of December.
Mhm.
We don't sit on books here. I don't have time to sit on books. I don't like a backlog of stuff in my inbox.
I mean, why sit on the books when what else you got to do?
and when I'm trying to sleep and I know there's a book there and it's going, "Hey, you, here's the cover. Go do it now." It's worse than
But that's like,
the voices in my head telling me what to write.
I forget which book of mine. I was expecting it to come out later, and you said nope. They told me I needed to put it out now. I think it was Steep Steps, or maybe it was Faith and Folly.
It was
But it was
one
one
of
of my books that what you were gonna. It wasn't gonna go live for a couple of weeks, and you accelerated its launch date.
because I can.
Yeah.
And it worked. It might have been Steep Steps because we needed all of your books so that you would have them for this event.
Yep.
And so
I was, y'all. I was so surprised. I was expecting to have 4 of my 6 children's books, or no, whatever. I've got 8 now. I cannot even keep up with myself. But I was expecting half the number that I got a package in the mail, and I'm like, wait. We got grandfathers, we got rules, we got all the if I could be's. How does this happen? I wasn't expecting this until after the event. And Yvonne, as my publisher, said, wait, Mary's doing an event. We need to get her these books now. So she made that happen.
that's
And
what we do here.
Those books were a hit. Oh my gosh. People loved the Little Mermaid's face, and they loved the illustrations inside the sharks bite, riders right. In fact, I think that one, once they started looking through the illustrations, they were picking out kids that looked just like that. In
And
grandfather's book, they were picking out children. I've got a nephew who looks like this. I need to buy this for him.
and the thing is, what we are doing with our children's books is I watched the controversy about AI. There's a group called Authors for Authors, and some of the illustrators on that particular group are losing their collective minds. We're going to be out of a job. We're going to be this. We're No, if you embrace technology, you make it work for you. When we started doing Mary's books, I said, we're going to take this in a different direction. Number one, kids are a whole lot smarter
Oh, yes.
than they used to be. Number two, the children are not going to deal with the, I'm going to call them, for lack of a better word, elementary stick figures that illustrators have been putting in books for years. They're not going to do it anymore. If you want to keep a child engaged, you have to find something to keep that child engaged. So we embraced AI, and we embraced it to the point that the graphics in Mary's children's books jumped off the page. Literally. The graphics in all of the books except for If I Could Be a Mermaid look like photographs,
Yes, they do.
and they're relatable. The graphics for If I Could Be a Mermaid, that book, literally, when you look at that cover, she hypnotizes you. Her eyes follow you. She is not, she doesn't look like a photograph, but the graphics in that book and the graphics of her on that cover, we couldn't have drawn it better. We couldn't have hired an illustrator to draw it better. So we have embraced AI, and I guarantee you, by this time next year, because we set a trend, you're going to see more and more children's authors going in that direction. And for an illustrator to sit and say, oh, I'm going to be out of a job, I'm not going to make any money, that's not true. You have to understand that if you don't embrace technology, it leaves you behind. Case in point.
Yes, because cars, look at our cars. What, 100 years ago, maybe even a little longer, they started creating cars. Before Henry Ford perfected the mass market, what is the word I'm thinking of? The conveyor belt, the mass production. Cars were being made individually, one at a time. And nobody cared about that. Nobody thought twice about it. But when Henry Ford started putting out cars and pumping them out faster than you could breathe and making them affordable, people started leaving their horses at home. They started putting their families in cars and leaving the buggies in the barn. Now, sure, there were some people who thought it was a fad. There were some people who thought, oh my God, it's just going to be terrible. We'll never, they're going to make horses extinct. Well, horses aren't extinct. People still love and cherish their horses. The horses have a different purpose today than they did 100 years ago. Now, do I think it's going to take us 100 years to get to where AI makes us extinct? No. Might take 500 years. Might take 5 years. People are still going to be important. I don't think for a minute that we're going to have a robot takeover of humanity. That's why we have science fiction. And I think that we have to embrace cell phones. We have to, cut the cord, as they say. How many of us would be lost without our little miniature computers in our hands? We don't always even have to have the phone in our ear. We don't always have to have a cable to it. We now have wireless earbuds, and we can be on, and that is one thing that is a pet peeve of mine, to be out in public, and men seem to be more into this habit than women. but you'll be out shopping, and all of a sudden you'll hear, well, I don't know what to do with it. What do you think? And you turn, and you realize this joker's on his cell phone with earbuds. But there are so many things that we have embraced in our technology, and AI is just another aspect. It's another tool. Photoshop. How many people back in the day scolded Photoshoppers for making, and there were times, I will say, if you get a Playboy bunny and you airbrush all the lumps and bumbles out of her, make her look more perfection, yeah, that's gone a little too far. But there's a time and a place for Photoshop. Sometimes you want an image of just the woman looking at the dog, and you don't want the background of the husband's garage and all the shelves and the tools laying around. So you use Photoshop or another editing software to get rid of all the background. And now they're making this easier and easier. You just plug in the picture, tell it to take out the background, and boom, it's done. Sometimes you have to do it too.
I couldn't do your shorts without the programs that I use, because I take one picture and stack another picture on top of it as an overlay, and then reduce it down, and then put it up on the program that I use to create the videos. We have to, in order to move forward, we have to embrace what we're given. All those many years ago when I started, I wrote my first book in the 1970s. Had I not embraced a computer in the 90s, and had I not gone looking for how do I get this out of here in 2006, I don't think I would be here today. So anything can be abused and misused. But when you use an open mind to embrace things that are given to you, and I'm going to say by God, because God gave people the intelligence to be able to do this, and then we use that in a service to Him, great things happen. Because He ultimately gets the glory. Mary wouldn't have all these books out. They wouldn't be beautiful books out if we hadn't embraced what we had embraced. She would still be struggling with, oh, I can't get this mermaid right. So don't be afraid of AI. I mean, we still have stupid people out there, trust me. I trust AI sometimes more than I trust people. Because, bless them, they can't get out of their own way. But that being said,
AI can enhance what we've written ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And do I use it to write my books with? No, because I want my voice. Neither does Mary. And yeah, I have an issue with people saying, oh, I wrote this with AI's help. That's why you have spell check on Microsoft Word.
And that, by the way, is a form of AI.
It is.
Because it can learn.
It does learn.
Grow.
And it does learn.
Yeah, you teach it by saying, no, I deliberately misspelled this word, add it to my dictionary. Or you teach it by saying, yeah, I know I tend to type IST instead of ITS. So make this an autocorrection all the time. So you're teaching your computer spell check how to help you be a better writer.
And people have embraced that. And I'm seeing advertisements for people that use AI. Oh, I've got to send this email out. How do I make it better? Oh, I go here to AI and it tells me what to write. Is that a lazy man's way? Maybe. But if you have someone that is not proficient with words or doesn't know how to learn how to be proficient with words, it's an easy way out.
Also, it's kind of a quick, I'm not sure what the word is, integrity check maybe. A lot of times people I mean, I tend to write an email that's rather long. So if I wanted to, I could say, uh, put in my 500 word email and say, AI, make this a 50-word statement. And it takes out all my fluffy stuff so that people will actually take time to read it. Now, do I do this typically? No, I think in terms of, 500 words to say all that, I think I could shorten this. And I am really, really good at, ask anybody who's ever worked with me on a professional level, I can cut your words down and cut them down to fit. That comes from working with newspapers and magazines. The real estate in there is very limited. Not so with writing our books. We don't have to cut down on all the fluff. Not that you wouldn't want to. I mean, there's no reason to overstuff your book and make it look like it's something it's not. This new book that I'm working on, which we're calling The One Left Behind, is, I think, 30 some odd pages. Oh, I would have loved to get it up to 79 pages so it can be in hardcover. I just don't have that many poems or stories ready. And I've learned, the hard way. Stop trying to make it perfect. Stop trying to make it something it's not. So if I have 37 poems, I put in 37 poems, I send it off, and Yvonne turns it into a book.
Simple.
If I have 137, then that's another story.
In fact, at our meeting yesterday, Elsa kept saying, I have 90,000 words. I said, Elsa, I don't care about the word count. I don't care how many words you have. The bottom line is what I make it into pages. So if you're inclined to write 200,000 words, that's fine, as long as it fits the story. All I care about is the page count. Anything under 24 pages, I can't do anything with. Amazon won't let me.
No.
And if you send me 20 pages and go, we'll fill it in with this. No, we're not doing filler pages. I will do a bio. I will do a headshot. I will do prior books. But I'm not going to fill it with fluff because nobody's going to buy fluff. They want a book that they can read. If you send me 78 pages, I'll put your bio and your previous books because that gives you the extra page.
And we've done that with some of my books. The children's books especially. I'm one of these writers that when I get to the end, I just kind of know it. And I double check and make sure that it's a fulfilling end, one way or the other. And I was talking with a fantasy writer a couple days ago, and he was trying to figure out how to end his book, and how I'm up to 82,000 words, and I still have a lot more to say. I said, okay, well, you can do one of two things here. You can end it with the characters doing this, this, or this, or this, this, or this, or you can end it right here and then write the next chapter, the first chapter of your next book, and that can go in the back of this book as a preview. And so that gave this guy a whole new perspective on how to finish his book because he's so close. And so many authors get to that, oh my gosh, I am almost finished, but I don't know how to end it. And I did this with Steep Steps. I ended it where I did, knowing full well I will hopefully get around to writing the sequel. And I can't get the sequel to even start in my head. It's there, it's teasing me. But it's also saying get rid of the clutter, clean your house. So that's what I've been doing. I've been cleaning out files. And it's very liberating.
So, in order to wrap up this hour and a half of overstuffing you with information that you're blowing my mind. Midnight publishing is a very simple concept. We will publish anything but erotica. We ask that you trust the process. You trust me as your publisher. You understand that there is no charge for anything that we do here at all. And you share what we put up. You be a willing participant in the marketing of your own work.
Absolutely.
You don't even have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is share what we put up. We've been doing it for a long, long time. Just share what we
But I
put
will
up.
say this, if you put up your own stuff, then we will share that for you.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
depending on what it looks like, Yvonne might even animate it and turn it into another short video.
I do that. Mary
Yes.
never knows when I'm going to animate something.
No, I just see it and I'm like, wow.
I like the surprise factor. I like to surprise my authors because then they immediately go out and go, "Oh, I got to share this now. I don't have time to wait." But
That's right.
understand that I am not going to put anything out that I would not put out under my own name, because this is ultimately our character and reputation when we put your stuff out there. Kindle is different from the printed book. It is not going to look the same no matter how much I manipulate it. And I'm not going to spend 6 weeks to Sunday trying to make a perfect Kindle book. It is not going to happen because Kindle's going to screw it up anyway. Because you have iPhones you read off of, you have iPads you read off of, you have computers. Some people even read off of their television. You have all of these different devices that you read off of. And Kindle doesn't care that you want it nice and pretty.
All you want is the words anyway.
That's right.
That's all you need.
They don't care. So, but your printed version is different. Your printed version is in book form. If you don't feel like you can unabashedly trust the process, trust me, and go with it, then we can't help you because we don't have time anymore to beg you to stay, to talk you
No.
into staying, and we're not going to do it. If you can find it done better someplace else, do.
We wish you well, and we'll just keep on doing what we do,
And keep
which for
thanking
me
God.
is just sending Yvonne manuscripts and she waiting for her to turn them into absolute magic.
And Mary never knows what she's going to get until she opens it and goes, "Be still, my beating heart."
Yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of cover she comes up with for the one left behind.
It's going to be interesting, for sure.
Well, Yvonne, sometimes she knows exactly what the book is or the cover is, and sometimes she doesn't. She can get it from a name, and then I mean, it was so funny because for years I've called this my sympathy book because I used to take these same poems and I'd print them out and I'd put them in a little folder, paper clip them together or staple them together, and I would either mail them or carry them when someone lost a loved one. But I realized over time that it's not necessarily death that you need to be helping someone cope with.
Be anything.
It could be any number of things.
It
But
could be a divorce. It could be, like she said, losing a friend in the workplace, losing a friend that has moved to another city, state, or country, being estranged from your child,
Yes.
being estranged from a parent, being estranged from a friend. Loss is loss. Death is the ultimate loss.
It could also be a book for a friend who's going through a divorce.
Anything.
I can see it taken off. I have about 39 or 40 pages, and I've got to look through it and see if there's anything else I've missed. But I have been searching my files, and I think I've got it covered.
See, so there you go.
And
Because
I realized I'm going to be doing another book of poems at some point that are going to be love poems. Oh.
oh, you're gonna do love poems? Oh my goodness gracious! But see, Mary has given herself permission
Yeah.
to fly. She's no longer weighted down with what am I going to do with all this now that it's here. She's given
And
herself permission.
I don't believe in putting myself in a box at all. I don't want to say, oh, well, I'm a fiction writer, or I write, I don't want to be just a children's book writer, which I want. I've got lots more of those coming too. But I believe that some of the things that I've written are meant to help other people.
And
And
there
if they
you go.
sit on my computer another umpteen years, that's just wrong.
They don't help anybody.
No.
So, again, if you are someone that has a story you want to tell or been wondering how you're going to get your story out there, all you have to do is contact me or Mary. You can contact Mary at Mary Brotherton on her social media page. You can contact us on the Midnight Publishing page, or you can join the Midnight Publishing page, contact us there. You can friend me on Facebook and message me, and then we will tell you what you need to do to get it to us. That's all it takes. But it's up to you as the writer.
It's simple. We have very, very simple guidelines, but they are hard and fast.
Hard and fast. They're written in stone. And unlike Moses, I don't throw the tablets down. I don't. Because yeah. We can't deviate from them. We're getting so big now. I anticipate when I started this back in June of last year, I had myself, Peggy Engler, Isaac Jones, and Jason Wolfgang Gerhardt.
And Andrea.
Andrea came about 3 months later.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah. I had 4 of us. Andrea came, Gwendolyn came, and here we are a year and a half later, and we're headed towards over 20 authors who are sending me books fast and furious.
And at some point, I'd love to know how many books, how many titles you have out under Midnight Publishing.
I can do that. I know that when I go looking for something, it takes me 12 lunches in 6 days because I scroll through 7, 8 to 10 pages of books trying to find the author. So now I've gone to the search site and go, okay, tell me where I put this book. But this time next year, I figure we'll be well on to 75 to 100 authors.
We'll be close to 100.
And each author gets individual attention. That's what makes us different.
That is what I love about it, because when she's promoting me, I feel like I'm the only one she's promoting. And then I look and I'm like, oh no, she's not. She doesn't love me more than she loves anybody else. Oh man.
You're all special, just like my children. I love you all equally and different, and because they are all important. When Ellie Ryan was interviewed on this show before she even published a book, she said, I thought that because I was Yvonne's cousin that she treated me so special. She says, but I found out she treats everybody special. And I do. Because they're very important to me. This is, say what you want, but this is a mission from God. And he gets the glory. He is the one that is giving me this gift and this talent to be able to pay what I spent 20 years doing forward. So with that, we've been on here almost 2 hours. When Mary and I get started, we don't know when to stop, but that's okay. And we are getting together December the 8th, 9th, 8th, 9th at Captain Hiram's. The 9th.
Yep.
tonight.
December
Yeah.
9th, Captain
We
Irons.
yeah,
And then
we
December 13th, Relentless Horse Farm.
join us there. If you're in the Melbourne area or close to it, Melbourne's not that far away from Vero and Vieira and Palm City and
Orlando, and just
Orlando. So join us.
barely an hour from Daytona.
Yep, exactly. So join us. Cocoa Beach, 30 minutes, 45. Merritt Island, 30 minutes, 45. So I always say at the end of my lives, I hope you have the day you deserve, whether it good or bad. And know we are always here. If you're not one of our authors, and I say this as well, and you want a short, and we will promote it. Even if you're not one of our authors, we will promote your short. If you want a book cover, I do charge for my non-authors simply to help me defray some of the costs that I use to promote books. It's not much, it's just enough to keep the lights on. And I will do it willingly, and we will promote you. In fact, Gary Stipling, who I've known for several years, wants to come on the show in January. He's not one of our authors, but he could become one. I said, we'll work
Well,
it out.
I have a friend named Tony Taylor. He found out that I was doing this podcast, and he said, let me know if you need a guest or a fill-in host. So I told him, follow Midnight Publishing on Facebook and keep an eye on us, and we'll let you know.
Absolutely. We'll book him. We're, we love having guests. We don't ever know where it's going to lead. So have the day you deserve.
Thank you. I will.
She's so excited. And enjoy this holiday weekend if you're going to travel or if you're with friends and family.
Thank God we're not traveling. Oh,
Yeah, I'm not either.
we thought about it, but his sister, who we were going to go visit, decided she's doing Thanksgiving differently this year, and we're not invited to that. So
Okay.
we're going to stay home. I already have our fixins bought. I just need to go in the kitchen. I'll put on my little Pac-Man apron, and it'll make me happy. So
Well, there you go. So
that's all I need, just to be happy.
well, next week we will do our podcast at 10:30 because start bowling again. We didn't bowl today because it's the day before Thanksgiving. So we will be doing this at 10:30 until 12 when I have to go bowling. So once again, Mary, I love you with all of my
I
heart.
love you too.
I, this is not the first journey Mary and I've been on together.
No, and that's one of the reasons that I decided to go into Midnight Publishing. I mean, I could still be agonizing over my own books and putting them up myself, but I don't like agonizing. But any time I've done anything with Yvonne, it hasn't just been okay or fun or successful. It's been phenomenally successful. And she has mentored me and watched me, and I am so proud of who I am today, partly because of her in the back, very gently, very subtly saying, you can do better. You could do better. You could do more. But it's up to you. You want to stand out or you want to just blend in?
We don't blend in.
I don't blend well.
I have strangers telling me they love my boots because that's all I wear. I don't blend in.
No. And it doesn't hurt that they've got a little extra heel on them.
Well, there is that. So with that, I will say good night, Ollie.
Good night, Stan.
And we will talk again.
No, Stan was Ollie, right?
No, it was Ollie and Stan.
Stan Laurel
And
and Ollie.
and no, Stan. It was Laurel and Hardy.
Oliver and Hardy.
Oliver. No, Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy.
Right, now I'm confused.
Of course she is. It's Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy, yeah.
There you go.
Oliver Hardy and Stanley Laurel.
Yep. We could do who's on first, but I may have to.
We could, but who? Why?
No, he's on second.
What's on first?
No, what's on third?
which is the guy on fourth base?
And with that,
What
we
was
say,
it we did when we did the live in Cocoa Beach? You were like, "Say hello, Mary," and I'm like, "Well, hello, Mary."
yeah, we're weird like
We
that.
we
Yeah,
are our own little entertainment to ourselves.
we are. We're easily amused, and I will be doing a live at the Equestrian Center too. So get ready.
Yay! Yay!
So
Yay! Yay!
until next Wednesday,
Au
farewell.
revoir.
Arrivederci. Hasta luego.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.
All
Bye.
right, we're gonna go before we get really silly.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know when Yvonne and I are together, we're like a drug for each other,
Yeah.
and it just gets more fun as the day goes on.
Who knows what
Come
evil
see
was?
us on December 13th and find out for yourself.
And then we're going to be there from what time to what time?
10 to 4, I
10 to
believe.
4. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
See y'all then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.